They're great as a snack or an hors d'oeuvre or even for dinner. Stuffed mushrooms coming up right here. So right now we're getting ready to make some shrimp and chicken sausage stuffed mushrooms. I love stuffed mushrooms, I have to tell you. And when I made these originally, when I stuffed them, I had some shrimp and chorizo. And then I tried shrimp and soy riso. And they're all good combinations, but I decided to go a little lighter because the shrimp is nice and light, lean meat, good for those on a program, if you're on one. And then I thought, why not some Italian sweet chicken sausage? That's even better. So what I'm gonna do is just real quick, just get my pan over here on a preheated setting of about medium high. And I wanted you to be able to see this chicken sausage that's here. It's Italian sweet. They also come in Italian hot, but I decided just to use the sweet because it's kind of mild, and then you can take it up a notch and add some red pepper flakes if you wanted to. And then I got some chopped onions and garlic. It's gonna come in a package with maybe 4 or 5 links. Just take one, freeze the other ones, or use them in sandwiches or something like that. Really easy to do. And I'm just gonna take the meat out of the casing here because I'm gonna saute it up in a little bit of olive oil with this onions and garlic. So all you need is about 1 link or 1/4 of a cup. Okay. Now I'm gonna give my hands a wash, and then we're gonna be at our stove and we're gonna saute up the sausage. We're gonna go ahead and drop our chicken sausage down in our hot pan with the onions and the garlic. And just give it a nice, break it up. Okay. An Italian sausage, I love using it in recipes because it has already a lot of flavor built into it. So you don't have to do a lot of work with seasoning. This only takes about 5 or 6 minutes or so. Remember, we're gonna put this in stuffing, so you don't have to cook it to death. You just wanna brown it a little bit. Saute up those onions and garlic. And the reason why I'm sauteing up the onions and garlic is because I want them nice and soft and get the raw taste out of them. So when you bite down on the mushroom, you don't have, to have to taste raw onion, even though there's nothing wrong with that if you like that, but just want to cook it a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna let this hang out while we turn our attention to our shrimp. We have our shrimp here. Now in this recipe, it really doesn't matter what type of shrimp you use, except for the fact it does need to be thawed out and needs to be raw and cleaned. Make sure it's deveined. What I meant when I said what type, I meant the size. You don't have to go out and blow a whole bunch of money on shrimp because we're gonna ground this shrimp up. Because remember, we're stuffing these small mushrooms and we wanna be able, get something here we go, to stuff the insides of the mushroom. And when you stuff mushrooms, things that go in them need to be small. So we're gonna do that. So I'm just gonna ground up my clean shrimp, grind it up. I don't have no problems with this one. Okay. Remember, shrimp cooks fast, and when it's ground up like this, it's even faster. So let's take another look over here at our chicken sausage really quick. Doing well, doing well. Okay. Nice. And I'm gonna use the same skillet to brown off our shrimp in. Really easy, not a whole lot of cleanup and dishes. All right, so our chicken sausage is nice and brown. I'm gonna take it out and put it in this bowl because this is where all our stuffing is gonna go. So I'm just take it out. Right in. Now, maybe a little bit more olive oil. Drop our shrimp. Just gonna put it right here till I can get the lid off of this. Okay. There we go. Okay. Put this back on. This skillet is nice and hot. Let's drop our shrimp right here. This shrimp looks so pretty when it turns pink and is nice and brown. There we go. 2 to 3 minutes tops, and it's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and season it a little bit with Grand Diamond seasoning, of course. Just so that you season your food at every layer, so you have those nice layers of flavor. Starting to turn nice and pink. You know, you can make dinner portions out of these also. You don't have to use the small cremini mushrooms that we're going to use today. I've actually used this recipe and stuffed some portobello mushrooms, so I have a nice dinner portion with a nice salad. Really good. Our shrimp is almost done. Just going to give it a quick squirt of lemon juice. Just another little nice tang. Okay. And that'll also help deglaze the pan. If you're not using a nonstick like I am today and you're using a stainless steel pan, the lemon juice will help deglaze the pan of all the little brown bits. Makes things taste good. Okay, it's all ready. Let's take it out. Back in. Okay. So my shrimp and sausage is already in the bowl, ready to go. Now, to this, we're gonna add some breadcrumbs. Now I wanna stress to you to make sure you try to use unseasoned breadcrumbs, because that'll give you the chance to season it yourself. You know, you can control the salt better, all right? And I'm gonna give you the links to the recipe right down there in the info box, so don't worry about that. I'm gonna add a little bit of oregano, because this is sort of an Italian twist. Some fresh parsley, Italian parsley, chopped. Little salt and little pepper. You can also put in some red pepper flakes if you wanted to, if you want to bump up the heat a little bit. And check the contents on your breadcrumbs, read the label, because some of them do contain salt also. So sometimes you think you're getting a breadcrumb that's unseasoned. Oh, I'm good to go. Turn the label around and look at the label to make sure if you have salt in here also or not. That way you know where you're going with it. Then I'm gonna add, for a little kick, some more Grand Diamond, maybe a half a teaspoon or so. And then to bring everything together and bind it, a little bit of olive oil. Okay. Mushrooms absorb flavor. You just want to make sure it's absorbing the right thing. And in this case, these are the right things. I love this recipe. You just want the breadcrumbs and the stuffing kind of moist. And that looks good to me. And just a little bit more. It's not too bad. Just a dab will do ya. I'm going to put this aside and talk about our cremini mushrooms. Here's what a cremini mushroom or a baby portobello looks like. I just have this one wrapped because I just want to show you. Okay, here's what it looks like. Cute. At times during the season in the grocery stores, prices can vary, so you want to get the best bang for your buck always. For this recipe, you need about a pound and a half of creminis if you're making the small ones. If you're making the big portobello mushrooms, you can do about 4 of those. Well, here's what it looks like. Let me tell you this about mushrooms. Never, ever, 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 ever wash a mushroom under running water. Don't do that, because what it's going to do is absorb the water and you're going to end up with a rubbery mushroom. Okay, so what you do is you take a damp cloth or damp paper towel and you wipe the mushroom off. Okay, take the stem off, because in this case we're going to stuff it. Wipe it off. Okay, go all around. You would do this over a trash can or another piece of cloth, which is fine, and just wipe off the little dirt that you may see. And that's how you do that. See? All nice and clean and ready to go. Okay? Now I'm going to get the other ones because I did the other ones earlier. All right, all ready to go. No problem. Took me about 10-15 minutes at the most. You want to do that first so you're all ready to prep. Okay, another thing about mushrooms, like I said, they do absorb the flavor. So I'm going to brush these a little bit before we put them on the pan with some olive oil. I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil in a cup so I can brush them a little bit. And some olive oil needs to go on your baking sheet so that the mushrooms don't stick, because sometimes they want to. So just put a little bit of olive oil right directly on the baking sheet. Like that. We'll move it around as we put the as we put the mushrooms on the pan. Okay, the mushrooms, when they cook, they kind of draw up and get kind of wrinkled a little bit. So I just do this just to keep them kind of moist and looking pretty. Just gonna rest that there and show you how we're gonna do this. Take your stuffing, all those delicious flavors, and just stuff it right inside the mushroom. This is one of my favorite hors d'oeuvres to order when I go out to an Italian restaurant, or appetizer. And you notice I didn't put that much breadcrumbs in it because I want to taste the sausage. I want to taste the shrimp and all the other flavors, so you don't have to load it down with breadcrumbs. And even if it breaks like this, you have one that's a little bit broken, it's okay, it's still good. Okay. Stuff it. It's a little bit of space. You want to take advantage of all that space in the mushroom. Mushrooms are all ready to go. They're going down. 425 degrees. All right. Now while our mushrooms are cooking, and let me just tell you, I have a little bit of stuffing left, as you can see here. Sometimes you have just enough for another mushroom, or even, like I said, if you have the bigger ones hanging around, you can stuff that, pop that in the oven too. Now, I promised you some more tips, and this is a tip that you normally wouldn't see. I usually would do this off camera, but I got this from my mom. I grew up with an upside down bowl in my refrigerator most of my life when I lived at home. So my mom was, and still is, a Tupperware lady, so that's why you see this beautiful Tupperware bowl. What's in here is lettuce, okay? So we could have salads all week. Now what we do, when you come home from the grocery store with your produce, as far as your vegetables, fruit, don't wash it and then put it away, because all that does is speed up the spoiling process, and you don't want to do that. Wash your fruit as you eat it. But pretty much like your greens and things like that, come home, give them a good rinse, and put them away. This is dill, and I just wrapped it in a paper towel to absorb the moisture. And what do I got here? This is some rosemary and some cilantro. I just put those in there because I was eating on that at my house. And right here at the very bottom with a paper towel over it, that's why it was upside down. The paper towel here was absorbing the moisture from the washed lettuce. So you take that off, and you may have to change this a couple of times. Here's all my fresh lettuce. Okay, and all I did was, this is some green leaf or red leaf lettuce here. All I did was break off the heads of the lettuce. Don't cut it. As soon as you start to cut lettuce, the clock starts to tick. You got less than 3 days to eat that lettuce. So what I do is just break it off, wash it up, and I got whole lettuce here for sandwiches. I can break it up for salads. Then over here, I got my nice, clean, ready to go arugula, which we're going to use today. I'm just going to mix it up in a bowl with a little lemon juice, some olive oil, a little salt and pepper, and I'm going to serve it right alongside my mushrooms. So this is a good tip to have for your nice lettuce. All week you got fresh lettuce for salads. I can smell the mushrooms now, wafting in the air. Ooh. Look good. All right. Now while those are cooling, just for a second, You can see them if you look right in here. Because we put the olive oil right around the edges of the mushroom, it absorbs that and it's not as wrinkled. So to me, it's just the look, but I like it and it's also gonna taste good. So while they're cooling really quick, I'm just gonna take about a half a lemon over our arugula lettuce here, which is very peppery, really good. It's one of my favorite lettuces to keep on hand. I'm gonna put that, a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit. Just a quick vinaigrette, a little salt and pepper, and then give that a toss so your lettuce is still crunchy, lightly dressed, right in the middle of the plate here. Got a little piece of dill in there, but that's okay. I'm gonna pile it high. I'm gonna put the mushrooms right around it. And we're gonna top it, everything, with some Parmesan cheese, fresh grated. Okay, let's see what I got here. And sometimes the mushrooms will wanna stick, but that's why we put the olive oil right directly on the pan so they don't stick. Just coax them a little bit. There we go. So good. If you use these as appetizers, there's like one bite. Stuffing is going to rise a little bit and get crispy at the top. Then some Parmesan cheese. Got my microplane. Fresh Parmesan cheese. Leave the box stuff alone. Right over the top. Nice salty bite over that peppery lettuce. You'll see it start to melt a little bit over the mushrooms. And that is our shrimp and chicken sausage stuffed mushrooms. I have a friend named Lisa and I know she's gonna love this recipe. She loves the lighter sides of the recipes. And I'm actually gonna go over her house and eat this one. Thanks for joining me and spend some time with me. I really appreciate it. For this recipe and more, you can go to gdseasoning.com and get this recipe. Also, Grand Diamond All-Purpose Seasoning is being carried in the LA area. We're gonna put the information for you right in the info box. And don't forget to always follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We'll keep you up to date. See you next time.